Hello, YouTube. Do 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 do. Hopefully, you guys can hear me. Hopefully, I don't get pranked that I'm on mute again. Fight me. Cool. It's been a while since I have been on the internet. Great, WS7E7. Thank you for the audio check. So, I thought I would show my face on the internet because I have such a pretty face, and I'm sure everyone missed it. My mirror gets to see my face all the time. My mirror is so lucky. Um, I have Hello Kitty nails. My camera is trained to only focus on my face. Focus on Hello Kitty's face. Come on. They're cool. I did them myself. Yeah. So I've been kind of off YouTube for a bit because my handlers changed my meds and it didn't go well. So, and I got an eye infection. So I'm kind of just trying to stay out of the emergency room. I called my doctors and they were like, you should go to the emergency room. And I was like, how about I don't? How about I don't? I'm not a fan of the American emergency rooms. Last time I was there, they put an IV in me and poured Benadryl and antipsychotics into it until I had a seizure, and then charged me $1,000. Not going to the emergency room. W77 says, I can imagine how complex it is to set up everything needed for a screen sharing stream. Yeah, and I have a little janky little laptop, which I love so much. I love my laptop, but I don't know. I could just get error message after error message. It's like, oh, you have the wrong parameters. And I'm like, what the heck is a parameter? Where's the parameter button? How do I turn it off? Another day as a famous YouTuber. I have one fan. That's all you need, really. No, I have 3 fans now. Yay! 2 people just joined. Hello, people. I am live streaming to prove that I am still an at least a reanimated corpse. Hello, indoor sugar. Alien emoji. I agree. W77 says out of RAM or out of RAM issues. I don't know what any of this is. A ram is a type of animal and a type of truck. And I want to ram my head against a wall when I try to use technology. The other day, I was like making up songs with my friend, and I discovered I'm kind of good at just like making up rap songs. Like a little, I don't know. If you guys give me like a prompt, I will try to figure out what rhymes with it or something if you want. I'm kind of like an AI. You need to prompt me. I need prompts. If you poke me with a stick, something interesting will ooze out of my brain, but you gotta have you gotta have a stick and you have to like whack my brain with the stick. Not physically, but just like metaphorically. If you have a metaphorical stick. Um Indoor Sugar says prompt mummies. Hmm. I have to make it like safe for work too. That's the problem because a lot of my thoughts are like things I just don't want to say on the internet. Another thing is I tend to wanna have a really long one before I say it, 'cause I just thought, like, okay, here's a verse. I can cook it up like a chef, yummy. Everybody quiet on set, that's a rap mummy. I don't know. I get too stuck in my head now that I'm doing that. W77 says, "I've seen some statistics in music videos covers lyric videos and music-related content have massive audiences." Well, not for mine, apparently, but I mean, if you have a budget for they also have massive budgets, that's the thing, and labels usually. Like, if you have a label with a budget pushing out your music, then yeah, it's gonna get if you can spend $1,000,000 on a music video, yeah, it's gonna get 1,000,000,000 views, but Indoor Sugar says, "Safe for work, bummer." Prompt, "Safe for work." Ah, that's let's just get okay, I'll be a little I'll be a I can at least be PG-13, right? Um, these thoughts are not gonna I have the thoughts in my head, but they are not leaving my brain. They're not I will try again. W77 says, "You one day you might consider creating acoustic versions of your song, keeping it simple and uncomplicated." The whole song is just there would be nothing left, you know? Like, what is Hunted without like, acoustic, like, what instrument, you know? So well, some of my songs kinda are acoustic, like, Daydreams is pretty acoustic, but a lot of them is, like, if you break it down to just one instrument, like, what instrument you mean? Like, there's no core instrument even at the heart of most of my songs, and they just sound so completely different when they're acoustic. My boss said I gotta keep it safe for work, so I gotta let you know it's not safe to twerk. Indoor Sugar says, "What's a normal day look like for you?" Never had one. Never had one. I think someone left because of my absolutely gnarly rap skills there. Uh, I'm judging myself for my the problem is then I listen to Nicki Minaj and then I'm like, "Well, this is what Nicki Minaj would say," but then I don't wanna say that. I don't wanna like, I could write it for Nicki Minaj, but I don't wanna say it as Mayhem. I don't want that on my public record, on my digital footprints. What are those boots called, like the steel-toed boots? Keep it safe for work, like some steel-toed boots. If I say a bad word, better put it on mute. This is fun, though. Grillin' chillin' says bars. Give me a prompt, grilled cheese. Oh, this is bars time. This is mayhem bars time. Everyone give me prompts, and I will come up with bars about the prompts. Indoor sugar's already on a watch list. If I drank alcohol, I'd say, "Hold my beer, watch this." 3077 says, "So far, which video essay has required the most effort and time to create?" Probably the Pi Day one. That one, I put a lot of into it. Indoor sugar says, "Prompt vampire." I might not beat the allegations I'm a vampire, but I am gonna beat my ops and build an empire. I might not beat the allegations I'm a vampire, but I'm gonna beat my ops and build an empire. Indoor sugar says, "Favorite place in the country to visit?" Ooh, you're keeping it in the country. I like my bedroom. I like my backyard. I like mountains. I like any mountain. I love to walk up a mountain. Mountains are so good. I love forests and mountains. I liked Iceland, but they don't have any trees. There's like no tree. There's like hardly any trees in Iceland because they cut them all down. Only one of the worst things about Iceland. W7E7 says, "Could you share an example of an interesting idea you learned recently that significantly influenced your daily life?" Marie Kondo's vision of practical minimalism, perhaps. That's not recently because I have been on that. I've been yapping about Marie Kondo for 10 years. For 10 years. So I guess that is still recent to me. You know, when you count. This is why it takes so long to reply to you guys' emails because time moves differently for me. Like a week for me is like an hour of human time. I don't know. Oh, most recent. I don't know if things change my mind as much as I find the right words to explain what I already believe, you know? Like we don't really agree with we don't philosophers don't change our minds as much as they explain our minds. And our sugar says, "How old does that make you?" Old enough to be your grandma's grandma. I could be your great great grandma because I am pretty great. I realized that I didn't finish off that verse too late. I swear I'm an interesting person if you poke me with a stick. I just have trained myself to be in a state of meditative silence all the time, so I don't have thoughts unless people ask me questions. I just I I'm like an AI that is just quiet until given a prompt. W7E7 says, "What inspired you to start creating content about philosophy, psychology, etc.?" Well, the reason I started my YouTube, I started it just as a music YouTube, and that did not go anywhere, like, I got no views on my music content, and I was like, "How can I promote my music YouTube without spending any money?" Because music videos and making production music is very expensive. So I was like, well, what can I just yap about to a camera? Stuff that I already know about. So I know about psychology and philosophy and random things, and I can yap about that for quite a while. It's easy for me to yap about. So I became a professional yapper, and I, I would be a good life coach. Everyone who has ever asked me for like legitimately come to me for advice and then taken my advice has said my advice saved their life and that they always come to me for advice because I give the best advice. I have testimonials, and so if you ask me for advice and try the advice, I I think that's a good idea. So if anyone has life problems, tell me your life problems in the chat and I will give you my best advice. Having lived as long as I have, become quite wise, quite learned, you could say. Somewhat of a sage old lady. Here's a good one. How to get your brain to stop thinking thoughts all the time. Um, because I think that is a good feature of my brain, is just be in a room where it's quiet and try to listen to the silence. Just listen to the silence because you have to focus on something. And that's kind of like a Zen koan sort of trick to get your brain to focus on nothing. W7E7 says, "What does the key I wear open? This was a gift from a good friend of mine. It was originally on it's a jewelry. It has rubies in it. These are little rubies. This was a gift from a good friend of mine, and it was originally on a black cord, but I put it on a silver chain because I like to wear silver chains. I feel like when I wear it, I feel like a character in like a 2000s like good quality TV show for teenagers because a lot of them would have them wear like the same jewelry, just like their character just wears that and it's their signature necklace or something. So I like it. 6 people. I'm famous. Tell me your life problems, or give me prompts and I'll make a stupid rap about the prompt you give me. Islam RQ9X says Donald Trump's tweet says, "Praise be to Allah, Donald Trump has become a Muslim." I don't have Twitter. I don't use Twitter. W7 says, "Are there any topics you haven't explored yet but are excited to delve into in future videos?" They haven't explored on my channel so much. I mean, I've only touched into kind of spirituality and stuff. It's so definitely quantum stuff is something that I've only gone into a whittly bit, but that is a big like eventually I will get back to making the Order of Mayhem series. It's a lot easier for me to make neurohacking because it's very practical, applicable, but the Order of Mayhem stuff it's definitely a lot more ambitious because I do feel a responsibility to say things that can be backed up and stuff. Neurohacking is a lot easier because it's easier to show, oh, this psychology thing, this where is Order of Mayhem is a lot that series is a lot more maybe groundbreaking, I guess, I'd like to think. But I'm excited to make more of those someday. It just takes a lot more time and effort, and obviously I always keep doing research, so I'm excited to read more books and learn more things. I recently finished my philosophy textbook. That was a honkin' book. I read the whole thing. That's why college is a scam, because they give you a whole book, don't even have you read it. Grilled cheese says, "Sorry, had to go for a bit. But you wanted me to give you a rap prompt? LOL, yes." Grilled cheese says, "What textbook is it? Let me run and get it." Whee! I'll show you. And I put tabs on all the interesting bits too to make it actually useful. Okay, this was my college philosophy textbook. I dropped out, but I read the whole thing. There it is. It's like 1,200 pages. Definitely the biggest book I have ever read. You've got to be bigger than Crime and Punishment. This took me a while. This took me like a year to get through it all. That's a lot of philosophy. My favorite one was the John Stuart Mill essay. And then I found a John Stuart Mill book for 50 cents at my used bookstore, and I bought it. Woo! W7E7 says, "How do you envision the evolution of your cult over the course of the next year?" Well, I will get super famous, and I will unlock all of the special YouTube tools that allow me to make videos just for my top fans and to sell my sacred amulets and and get donations and chats. And then I would love to be able to do this as a career. That's the goal. As the goal is to be able to enlighten people. Maybe I'll start like self-help consultations with me as a life coach. That would be a great thing I could do. Grilled Cheese says, "Rap about your journey reading philosophy and becoming more enlightened than the professors." A philosophy book. I went to college for philosophy. They didn't even teach me Nietzsche. So I dropped out. I said, books are all you need to teach ya. Grilled Cheese says, GG. I say every thought that comes into my head. When I'm not speaking, my brain is just like, Like sometimes people make fun of. I saw a tweet making fun of some TikTok girl. Or it was a post on Instagram. It was probably like a screenshot of a tweet or something, but it was like some popular TikTok girl, and they were like, "I know her head is just static, but my head is just static, but I feel like that's an advanced meditative state." I don't think that people with low intelligence actually have static in their brain. I think they are having constant thoughts that are just not very important. Grilled Cheese says, "Do you have an inner voice?" Sometimes. On Yeah, I mean, if I stop myself from like, I don't know what I'm going to say before I say it. My inner voice is connected to my outer voice, but I can purposely disconnect them by just being like, what if I said something but closed my mouth? And then I can think the thoughts and hear them. But it's not just yapping all the time. Usually when it's yapping, I'm yapping. W77 says, "That's a superpower." Thank you. I'm Yapper Girl. Give me a cape. It's definitely when I try to speak in different languages, there's more of a gap, or try to speak in rhyming bars, you know? There's more of a gap. I spend more time thinking about what I'm gonna say before I say it. Comme si je voudrais parler en français, mais français, c'est pas trop difficile parce que c'est ma deuxième langue, mais les autres langues sont plus difficiles que ça et il y a plusieurs que je ne peux pas parler, je ne pouvais pas dire rien. French is honestly a little close to my English if I'm saying simple things. I can speak French without thinking about it first. I'm just not very good at it. But if I wanted to compose a sentence, I find a lot of time what happens if I just start speaking French, I just there aren't as many pathways of things that I can talk about or things that I think about to talk about. Like I can start a sentence in French, but it just doesn't go anywhere because I don't think about things in French or know the words to say those. Coach Chi says, "Oh, okay, makes sense. TBH, I sometimes have to think out loud to really think deeply about it." This can be why talking to another person about something can help. Like it's not even necessarily sometimes when you want to vent about something, it's just to work out your thoughts. It especially if it's you want to vent and you don't want advice, you probably just want to hear your own thoughts and listen to your thoughts outside of your head. W7E7 says video based on language learning content attract a large audience too. Yes, I do a lot of studying languages and because right now I don't feel like I'm at a good enough level of with any language to be like I'm an authority on this. Like I speak 4 languages very poorly. So if I could if I could at least be as good at French as I was in English, and then as good at German and Icelandic and maybe another one as I am at French right now, then yeah, I'm really ramping up to do language content in the future. That is definitely a goal of mine, but it takes a lot of studying. So I do study a lot. That's sometimes if I'm not making videos, basically if I'm not making videos, I'm either reading or studying languages. That's pretty much all my hobbies. That's all I do. Study. I'm just a nerd. Girl Cheese says, "Yeah, you could probably do language learning content. You seem like you'd be good at it." Thank you. It's definitely going to happen in the future. I don't know when, but I train every day. Right now I'm learning Japanese, um, which is pretty difficult, but that's pretty cool. I would love to. So I've studied 10 different languages, I guess. Yeah, but I've only spoken 4. So English, French, Icelandic, German, and then I've studied Russian, Polish, Navajo, Swedish, Spanish, Japanese. Um, Girl Cheese, you do languages too, right? I know both W7ESO and you. English is not even your first language, so. Girl Cheese, what's your second best language after English? W7E7 says, when you're planning stuff like today, do you have backup plans in case things don't turn out the way you hoped? I make plans real last minute. like, I don't even really make plans as much as I just kind of figure out in the moment what the best thing to do right now is. The closest I get to making plans is trying to alert people what I think I might be doing, but that doesn't mean that I really think I'm going to be doing that, it's just, like, my best guess. I'm like a weather forecaster. What I am going to do today is like the weather. It's impossible to know for certain what I'm going to do. I can only predict it with various percentages of accuracy. Grilled cheese says, I used to be more serious about language learning. After English, it would be Spanish, then German. After that, it's just A1 levels and below. Yeah, I don't know what level any of my languages are. Um, je ne suis pas même certain si mon français c'est mieux que A1, mais je devrais prendre un examen pour ça, pour vérifier ça. Mais je suis maintenant en train de d'apprendre, heu, les langues mieux. Alors, nous verrons. I don't even know if my French is better than A1, but it's that good, whatever that good is. But I will study more and I will take tests to see. Grilled cheeses definitely seems better than A1. See, I don't know. I don't know about that. I haven't studied German in a while either. Uh, so, but I have had a 2-hour conversation in German. So, I don't know. I've spent about 130 hours studying German. So, I don't know. See, I kind of wish I knew how to share my screen and stuff because then I could just take the that would be good content. Me taking the whatever the levels test is for languages, so I can prove it. Davidson Reason says, if you understand Spanish, you surely could understand Italian too. Yeah, those two are on my to-do list. Grilled cheese says, TBH, I used to stream myself doing a lot of Duolingo and GeoGuessr many years ago. So you don't have to be perfect to them to do the content. Yeah, I know. I just I just like to be perfect. It's my hobby. There's 77 says perfectionist. I'm the perfectionist. The perfectionist. The perfectest perfectionist. Which means it's really hard for me to make stuff because it's hard for it to get to the threshold where I think it's good enough for other people to look at and judge me on. Like, if I post something, I am really proud of it. Never gonna give you up, Lane says, Bonjour, bonjour, Lane. Bienvenue à notre, how do I say stream? Live stream. I don't know how to say live stream. Je ne sais pas comment dit on live stream en français. Hi, salut. Comment ça va? You got fangs. Ah, I might. I might, perchance. I was gonna eat something with them, but I kinda. Oh, let me grab some candy. A fun way to tell if someone's teeth are real or not is to see if they stick their tooth into a piece of gummy candy, will it pull out their tooth? I'm human. W7E7 says mukbang. I guess it is now. I hope this isn't gross. If this is gross, you guys can leave and I'll end the live stream. I'm not a fan of mukbangs, but these are dye-free Swedish fish that are actually from Sweden. Like a sour candy. I love them. Dev7 says, what games do you usually play besides that language theme one? I just play language games. That's it. That's it. I've been playing Lingo Legend obsessively. That's pretty much all I do. If I have free time, I'm either reading a book, I'm frolicking in the forest, or I'm studying languages. I'm either doing those things or I'm making videos. That's all I do. Like, you know how much reading you have to do to read? And they're like really thin pages too. Like this is a lot more, and it's tiny print. I read all of it and took notes. Let's flip to random notes. See what I thought was interesting. Grilled Cheese says, I've been playing this game called Pools lately. It's backroom themed. I once saw ContraPoints Natalie Wynn do a playthrough of that game. So I am familiar with it even though I've never played it. Okay. Here's a quote that I highlighted in my philosophy book by John Searle, Can Computers Think? Syntax alone is not sufficient for semantics, and digital computers, insofar as they are computers, have by definition a syntax alone. Kind of like my video, How to Sound Smart. Syntax alone is not sufficient for semantics. Let's find another one. W7E7 says, to fully understand or evaluate an expression, both syntactic correctness and semantic validity are necessary. Yes. W7E7, I spoke another language as well as you speak English as a second language. I'd be so proud of myself. It would indeed be a case of fictitious invention if I used my imagination to establish that I was something or other, for imagining is simply contemplating the shape or image of a corporeal thing. Rene Descartes. Faith may be rationally permissible in many cases, but it is only morally permissible when it poses no significant risk to others. When the interests of others are at stake, we are morally required to abandon our risky projects when we lose confidence in the beliefs that underlie them. That's interesting. It assumes that it's okay to put yourself at risk, but not others, which I guess maybe. Grilled cheese says math is almost all syntax games and logic too. Yeah, I was good at math in school, but I'm very much a words person. The the thing the thing about semantics, when you're good at words, you can just say any words kind of you know, there let me tell you guys this story. So, in high school, I had the same English teacher for years who was my favorite English teacher, but one year I had a different English teacher. And just out of sheer disrespect that I did not have my favorite English teacher, I refused to read like any of the readings uh, in that my non-favorite English teacher gave out. So I would just write essays about books that I'd never read, and I wouldn't even look up like the summary. Like we got assigned Wuthering Heights. There's no reason for me to not read Wuthering Heights. Like it's one of the books that the Twilight Saga was based on. I have every reason to read Wuthering Heights, and I would have read it and liked it, but I was just kind of doing this out of spite. So I didn't read Wuthering Heights. I didn't even look up, like, I didn't know anything about it other than the title. I didn't even know the names of the characters. Like, now I know that one of them is named Heathcliff. I don't know, and the other one's named Margot Robbie. But but I didn't know anything about Wuthering Heights. So I just rewrote. And then the day came around when we had to have a test and write an essay in class about Wuthering Heights. So the day of that test, I just rewrote my Hamlet essay that I'd written over the summer. I just rewrote my Hamlet essay, but I made it more vague. And I got like an 87. And my non-favorite English teacher was like, you could have been a bit more specific, but I liked your writing style. And I was like, Gochi says that's low-key based. I know, right? I know. I'm full of I have so many stories like that about school of just me being the most chaotic nerd. Like that's my alignment is chaotic nerd. Grilled cheese says, "LOL, I just read that a few months ago. It's good. I will read it at some point. I will read it as soon as I get a pretty shiny edition of it. You know what I just got a pretty shiny edition of? What classic book? Because I need a classic book to be pretty for me to want to read it. I just finally read Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and look at this beautiful book. There's other stories in it too. It's not just that one to fill it up, but it's so pretty. It's so pretty. Um, Once I get a book like this of Wuthering Heights, which I'm sure they're making now that it's a movie and whatnot, but I will read it one of these days. Let me tell you guys a story. So, in the vein of chaotic things I did in high school. Oh, during my final English final with my actual English teacher, that my favorite English teacher, he knows who he is. Um, but when I was a senior and I was taking my last English final in that class for the last time, I'm I'm pretty sure it was that. It was one of the years. I had him for 3 years. It was one of those years. I jumped out the window. I defenestrated myself during the English final because I got bored, so I just decided to climb out the window. And then a librarian came out and yelled at me. It was like, because that was when I was trying to climb back in. I tried I so I jumped out the window. Like, I pulled the screen out of the window and climbed out, and jumped down to the ground. But then when I was trying to climb back in the window, a librarian came out and yelled at me, so I had to go around and come in the back door. But that's like, my English teacher was cool because I was like, "Hey, can I is this okay?" And he's like, I'm not watching what's going on. I have no idea that you're trying to do this, and this is all I'm unaware that this is happening." Grilled cheese says, "Okay, you are quite chaotic." Yeah. Um, they don't call me Mayhem for nothing. Let me tell you another story. So, I was in a creative writing this was my senior year of high school. I was in a creative writing class, which I did not need, and it was not helpful, and I was also taking a film class where we were watching films and, uh, analyzing them, and I want there was all that film teacher also had a class on film production, like making videos, like making YouTube videos, and I really wanted to be in that class, and it was the same time as my creative writing class, and I was like, "I could pass on this." So I went to my guidance counselor, and I was like, "Hey, can I transfer from creative writing into film production?" And they were like, "Oh, it's too late in the semester to change, and we're not gonna be able to do that." And I was like, "Okay, yeah, I understand." So I went back to my creative writing teacher and I said, "Hey, Mr. So and so, I just wanted to let you know that I'm going to be transferring into the film production class starting right now, and it's going to take a bit for it to go through in the system. Like, you're not going to see it change in the system immediately because they have to do the paperwork and stuff. But so I just wanted to let you know ahead of time." And he was like, "Oh yeah, okay. Thanks for letting me know. You've been a pleasure to have in class, and good luck on what you need to do now." And I was like, "Thank you so much." And then I went to the film production class and sat down in that class, and the teacher was like, "Oh, did you get transferred? Did it go through?" And I said, "Don't worry about it." And I stayed in that class, and my creative writing teacher gave me perfect attendance in creative writing for which I never showed up to again. Except for one day, there was a substitute teacher, and she marked me absent because I didn't show up because I didn't show up, and kept giving me 100% in the class that I stopped going to. Meanwhile, I was going to film production. That's when I started my YouTube channel. I actually started my YouTube channel in high school. All the videos from back then are private now, but I got like my first 100 fans or so are from back in high school and stuff. So sometimes there'll be people commenting like, "Oh my god, I knew you in high school." And that's how I learned to make YouTube videos, was in my high school film production class. Like, we did a big group film, and I basically did all the roles in that group film. It's like a serious, like, 10-minute film, and I worked on that just all the time. Like, I would use all my other study periods to work on that, and I never got officially transferred. Like, I never got a grade in that class. I ne because I was still technically in creative writing and guidance never ever transferred me over. But the film that I made that I did almost all the roles in the group project for, because everyone else in that class was just like slacking off and they were seniors and they didn't want to be there. That film that I made, I submitted it to some scholarship contests and I won like $5,000 in scholarship money. And then when I dropped out of college, I talked to the scholarship people and I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna be like a musician and a YouTuber, and you should give me that money anyways." And they just sent me that money to me, and I got to have it, even though I dropped out of college. I am chaotic nerd aligned. That is I don't think anyone has a more chaotic nerd story than that. That I broke the rules. I broke the school rules in order to get more homework. That I did everyone else's homework and never even got a grade for it. Gochi says, "Too epic for the system." Yeah. W70 says, "There's an order hidden in all the chaos." Yes, I had my own plans, and guidance's plans could go make their own plans, you know? Because I had my plans, and they weren't gonna get in the way of them. I definitely have more stories like that, but not all of them are. You gotta get to know me a little better first, you know? Decisiveness plus 10. Yes. Yes, I'm a very decisive person. I decide something's going to happen, and then it happens. Semantics and math are kind of alike because both try to make sense of and organize systems of meaning and structure using clear logical ways. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a math person much. I'm good at math. I don't like it. Well, guys, if you have any more questions, tell me now, and I'll end the stream soon because I've been yapping to you two for a while. But I hope you guys. Thanks for carrying the convo, and I hope this was a good. Uh, I'm still undead. Check in that I've not abandoned YouTube. I'm just a little. I've been reading books. I gotta get out of this reading. Did I show you guys my nails? Got Hello Kitty nails. I did them myself. I feel like this would have been really expensive if I went to a nail salon, so I'm pretty proud of it. Wee. Thank you guys for showing up and hanging out with me. And one of these days I will figure out how to stream games, which is my original purpose today was to stream me playing a game on my computer, but I got a bunch of errors and I fixed most of the errors, but then I kept getting the error that basically this it was just lagging and stuff. Like I watched the test stream back and it was like the video was just like a still frame. So I was like, oh, well, no point in that. But thank you guys for hanging out. I'll see you when I post the next video or next time I live stream or something because I'm sure you guys my biggest fans. Thanks for coming out. Adios, grilled cheese. Sayonara. Au revoir.